Hi, love. So I'm sure I'm not the only person that has seen videos written, I don't have friends and I'm 25 or I'm 35 years old and I don't have a career or friends or a boyfriend. And I definitely felt judged by the algorithm, but then I realized that I'm not the only person that feels this way. Like a year ago, you could not pay me to come on the internet and say I don't have friends, but here we are. Because I feel like it's not necessarily the fault of the one person, but just a number of things that are happening in our society that contribute to us just being by ourselves, feeling like we are alone. I was wondering if this was only just a Gen Z and millennial problem. I wondered if the boomers and all the other older generations face this kind of things. And I think no, because the number one thing is technology. Like, it's definitely different. I think of my mom and her friends. We have lived in two different countries, and in each of those countries, she's always had like a lot of friends. And I think one of the reasons was that everyone was doing exactly the same thing. Everyone was getting married, having babies, buying a house, and staying at one place for a long time. And therefore, you create a community of which right now, like, everyone has a different field or thing they want to do with their lives. So many of our lives don't align, which just makes it much harder to make friends. Because I imagine, like, my mom, she had us and we lived at one place for a long time. She has a church she goes to. She has the neighbors she sees every time. There's not that much security of everyone just keeping to themselves. But like, you can go and borrow some salt at your neighbor's, place who's going through a similar thing in their lives as you are. They're also young and married. Obviously you're gonna form a friendship, of which right now, in as much as I am married, the next door neighbors, they're in their 50s and 60s. Like, no one my age is buying a house. I live in a house. I don't live in an apartment. And so just those type of differences just make it a little bit difficult for our generation than it did for the last generation. We don't have natural communities. Like, it's really difficult to make communities because individualism, again, everyone is doing their own thing. And I just want to preface that this video is not about shaming the person that doesn't have friends, but as a way to help us understand, like, why we're in this way. Like, it's not your fault. It's not that you are doing something wrong or you're unlikable. Because I do see some tweets like, if a girl doesn't have any friends, she's a bad person. Like, no, it's not that at all. And the guys as well, like, it's not that. Like, we're all going through this. And just to prove that a vast majority of Gen Z and millennials are lonely, there is an article written about that where it says loneliness is a global crisis. According to Britain's campaign in End of Loneliness, 45% of adults feels occasionally, sometimes or often lonely in England. Obviously, that's just in England, but like, we can just generalize it like the whole world. In a 2019 poll, 22% of millennials reported that they had no friends. 22%, that is quite a lot of people. The World Health Organization found that loneliness affected 20 to 34% of older people in places ranging from Europe to India and Latin America. So again, it's definitely a whole lot of people all around the world. It's not just like in Europe, because in Europe, people are definitely more reserved, but then in other places where it's more community-wise, it is for the older generation, but not really for the young people. Although I can definitely say that it is definitely better in Africa, where I went to Zimbabwe, I think, 2 years ago, and I was there for 3 months, and I already made like 3 friends, and one of them I still speak to, and we're really close. We like pray for each other and stuff like that. And it happened so naturally because like there was hardly like any Wi-Fi or electricity like to meet up. So I met them naturally. Like, I would go to the same shop every time, see them, make conversations and stuff like that. So I definitely believe that in more countries or in more underdeveloped countries, it's definitely easier to make genuine friendships than like in developed countries where everything is technology. You don't have time to interact with a person. The big impacts that you might think does not contribute to loneliness, like not having friends, is capitalism. If you think about it, what is capitalism? Like, I would do whatever I can to achieve success, and if everybody else, it's all about me and climbing that corporate ladder and just getting where I need to go. So therefore, everything that you do is not in a community based, if I should say. It's more like I and F everybody else. So therefore, I would rather get on with my career than like entertain people like friends or like let them weigh me down. Therefore, you end up not having anyone because you're really chasing the bag, which is not really a bad thing. Well, capitalism is a bad thing, but like chasing the bag separately. Okay, we're getting off topic. But in essence, it's more like there's capitalism, and capitalism is time and money, and time equals money. You want to spend your time where you can benefit something. So everything is more transactional, where people are not necessarily looking for friends or being genuine, but they are looking for a way to gain something. It's more transactional, like I hang out with you and you give me that and all that kind of stuff. I was watching a video about Kelly Stamp. I'm sure you guys know her, and she was complaining that it felt, when she was, you know, gaining her success, it felt like some people would want to be friends with her just because she has a huge amount of following. And when she would meet them for the first time, they'll be vlogging and be like, oh, this is my bestie, da, da, da. Like just throwing out that word friend, where it's like, you really just want to hang around me so that you can capture the moment and look like, you know, you're besties with this person, but really you just want to grab some of their subscribers and just gain something off of it. Or I can imagine just being friends with people that you don't really agree with, but you want to be in spaces where you can benefit financially, where you can network. So it's kind of like you have a lot of acquaintances or people that you think are your friends, but they're really not. Same as you, like all of y'all are being fake. I'm including myself when I'm like y'all. I'm including myself in this whole thing, because we have to take some accountability from it. Like it's not just all like the world's fault, but there's some things that we do as well that contribute to us being lonely and not having any friends. I'm sure we've all seen that meme where it says being in an adult friendship is asking your friend like, when are you available, and try to reschedule it and like meet 2 months or 3 months later. And we all like relate to that, but is that actually a good thing? There's an article that I read which I thought was interesting, but a really interesting point. Twitter user Dr. Melissa A. Fablo, I hope I said that correctly, divided opinion when she suggested things might be more complicated in a template for responding to someone. If you don't have the space to support them, Fablo writes, I'm so glad you reached out. I am actually at capacity helping someone else who's in a crisis, dealing with some personal stuff right now, and I don't think I can hold appropriate space for you. So this is like a template where she's writing to a friend, like, you know, she's giving us this so that we can, you know, give it to a friend. Like if a friend, you know, wants some emotional support, like they've broken up with a boyfriend or something like that, and then she's dealing with something else, she'd be like, you know what, hold a space, kind of like a secretary answering a message for the boss. Anyway, let's continue. Could we connect later date or time instead? Do you have someone else you can reach out to? The template concludes a thread about importance of seeking consent of emotional labor. The fabulous post sparked the response it did. Oh, I can't read. Oh yeah, there's a thing about like Gen Z and Alpha not being able to read. I think I might be part of that. In recent years, the internet has jumped wholeheartedly onto concepts such as self-care and emotional labor, as we search for a language to resist system which cares nothing for us and beyond our economic worth. Self-care gives us permission to value ourselves when society wouldn't. Emotional labor gave us a way to describe the exploitation of having to keep smiling politely at rude customers over the till when your boss doesn't care about you, that your grand just died. This is the part where I really want to get into. But what began as useful ideas for asserting our humanity and fallibility against cold, unfeeling capitalism steadily became buzzwords co-opted by corporations to make us feel like businesses are our friends. And now it seems to make us feel like friendships are business. The Instagram hashtag self-care, for example, throws up a panoply of inspirational quotes stating that you don't owe anyone anything, least of your time. Venmo me for the emotional labor, goes the meme. So I would summarize that as someone having a friend that has a problem and you just like brushing it off and be like, you know, self-care, I want to preserve my mental health, so I'm not going to listen to what your problems are, of which is great when it comes to corporate side of the, you know, the world, where it's like, you know, we're at work, okay, but at the same time it's like we are no longer being there for our friends, and whatever problems they have, we just brush and go to therapy, as if therapy doesn't cost money, and as if what we're doing by just listening is, you know, actual therapy session where it's like you're just being a listening friend, like you're just being there for your friend. It's not necessarily like they're trauma dumping you, but like you just being an ear, and you can obviously suggest them to go to other places, but like they're still your friend, and you still have a responsibility for your friend to be there when they need you. Not only that, this thing of making friendship like business, like you have to call me at a certain time, you have to do this at this time, like we have to schedule this, like it's all great and stuff, like, yeah, you know, we're being organized and stuff, but like I think that is one of the things that we lost that our parents had. They could just come to your house and it'll be fine, like you just like chill. And that's one thing I experienced. I remember like growing up in the 2000s, like you could just go to, okay, we were younger, I guess, like nobody was doing anything, but when I did go to in Zimbabwe for about 3 months, you know, getting my passports in order, all that kind of stuff, and visa situation, the friends that I met could just come over and it was fine. I guess because I was also not doing anything, but like it was fine. Like if I wasn't there, the people at home would just be like, oh, your friend was here, and I'll be like, oh, okay, let's go to her. I'm just gonna go see and check her out, and I'll just go, and you know, whatever she'll be doing, she'll just like, you know, continue with me, and it will be fine. Of where right now it's like we have to make a schedule up, like it all just seems very forced. Like, don't you want to be with your friend? You know, like if you don't have to plan something like tangible to hang out with your friend, like you can just chill, like you can just sit, you know, you can just take a walk. It doesn't have to be this planned dinner day, making it all corporate and complicated. You have to wear this and that, you have to film the get ready with, like everything is so complicated where it's like it does not have to be. Like work is already that. Don't make your friendships like that as well. And there's also the hustle culture, like everybody's hustling, okay? And I think I might be guilty of this as well, where I've been advising people, like my TikTok is full of like just advice and stuff like that, where I was in like one of the videos I've probably made, or many, where it's like if someone's not benefiting you in your life, then you need to cut them off. This whole thing of like someone always has to benefit you, but sometimes a friend can just be there just for the sake of being there. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't always have to be complicated. Like you need to check like what do they do for you, but like they're listening ear. You are not alone. They, you know, what is the purpose of friendship then? It's companionship, doing something with someone, you know, going to the gym with them. It doesn't have to be like they have to give you tangible things to, you know, tick off the box to say that now that is what makes a friend. Loyalty, you can't show that tangibly, like loyalty, here's loyalty, but like them just having your back, you know, all that kind of stuff. It doesn't have to be business related, like they're helping you with this.
So like, what is a good friend? I think for me, somebody that I can rely on, because as I've gotten older, I have less friends and my group is smaller. So the people that are my friends to me are like family. I need to be able to rely on you. I need to be able to come to you for advice. Good character. Bad character corrupts good company. So I think you need to think highly of yourself, and I need to think highly of you so I can respect you enough to come to you for advice and things like that.
This hustle culture where it's like someone has to put you on, like some people just don't have, you know, the connections, and it's okay for them to still be your friend. They still should be valued. What has failed us is media representation of friendships and how they're supposed to look like. So many of us grew up watching shows like Friends or Girlfriends. My girlfriends. See, but anyway, girlfriends, you know, they're all together each and every single time. Work is never like an impact in their lives, of which right now I think it's one of the biggest impact of why we can't maintain friendships, because of work. But what we've been seeing on TV, all these series, all these TV shows, all these movies, the friends are always together. Even the dorkiest or loneliest and weird person has a bunch of friends or a best friend. Like every teen, I've been rewatching like 2000 movies, and like the dorkiest person who's so antisocial, they have a best friend. And we are set up to always look for a best friend. Like everyone, you have to have one. This person that knows you in and out, you know, you're two peas in a pod, all that kind of stuff, where it's like, it's just not realistic. Someone that you've known for years, they've seen you at your worst, all that kind of stuff, of where right now I think people are moving more than we could have ever thought. Like if you look at the cast of Friends, they're always together. I mean, Rachel had an opportunity to go overseas. She did not because of that guy, of which right now people, when they get opportunities to go, they are leaving. okay right now. And that's the reality of things. Like, people are moving a lot of times, and friends are not like a consideration of like, so that is what I mean, that you expect people to stay because you've seen movies and people do that, but like in real life that doesn't happen. I don't know if I've spoken about this before, where it's like, someone asked me, like, oh, I did actually, about my friendships, and I was like, you know what, I've met like a lot of people since I've been here in France, but like all of them have moved. Like, I just met a recent friend, she's moving as well. So it's like everyone leaves and moves, and it's really not your fault, but like it's just one of the things that happen that we don't see a lot of times in movies or TV shows, that friends move and it is what it is and you can't do anything about it. And there's also an unrealistic expectation of friends that we also see like in TV shows. For example, Chandler and Joey, is it? Where he's been paying Joey stuff for a long time. Same with my girlfriends. No, it's not called my girlfriend. Girlfriends. There is Joan, who pays for Leanne. I think that's her name. She like pays for her things. That's not how friendship works. You don't. Okay, maybe some people do that, but like in reality, that doesn't happen that way. I think some people have internalized where they expect so much from their friends, and that causes problems and a lot of friendship breakups. I also want to include the friends that give 1,000 opportunities or chances to their romantic relationships, but when it comes to friendships, like if you just make one mistake, like it's out, like you're done.
And by the way, I have a question, and don't fight me because I know
he gets more chances because he lays it down on me, sis. You about to lay it down on me? You ain't laying down nothing. He laying it down.
But then I also think it doesn't just happen that way. Okay, it does happen that way, but then I think with friendships, things don't get talked about, where a lot of things happen and then no one says anything, and then it'll be just the final straw for someone in their head, and then they'll just cut you off. I think that's what happened. I think that's what happened with me. Like, a friend of mine cut me off, but I think, and I wondered, like, really just that one thing, but I think I probably had done like something like for a long time, and that's why they cut me off. Yeah, probably. Then there's this huge expectation of what a friend is supposed to do. There's also this lack of communication, what you expect from each other, and also just people giving romantic relationships more energy than their platonic friendships, which is just so weird. In fact, there's a quote from a friendship guru, if I should say, and it was a really interesting one. She says that, my theory, society places greater value on women being partnered than a woman having strong platonic bonds. And I thought that was such a good point. As long as you have a ring on your finger, I should really start putting on my ring. It's like upstairs. But anyway, as long as you have a ring on your finger, that's all that matters.
Guys, I literally cannot stand those girls who drop their friends and everything for a man. Like, those girls who, like, just because they're seeing a guy, they, like, stop hanging out with their friends, stop talking to their friends. And honestly, I've just had so many friends like that I drop them. Because it gets to the point where you're like, it's not even that I have to cope and, like, support your delulus. It's just that, like, you're pathetic to the point where you need male validation so badly that, like, you don't even care who you're upsetting to.
Let's talk about social media. I think my voice is leaving me a little bit. Let's talk about social media and how it impacts our way of making friends, or how it is probably one of the reasons why we are lonely. We're a lonely generation. Definitely has to do with how social media is to us. Right now, it almost feels like social media has been there like our entire lives, but it really has not. And yet it has made a huge difference on how we communicate with each other or how we maintain friendships. I'm sure I'm not the only person that hates phone calls.
I don't know if it's just me, but it always feels like a personal attack when someone calls me.
But I had to think, like, why do I hate phone calls? And I realized that I don't hate phone calls. It's just so weird for me to have phone calls with someone that I haven't really known in person, that I'm fully comfortable with. Because I enjoy phone calls from my mom, my family, my sister. Those are the best things that ever happened to me. Having phone calls with them, I love them so much. But why do I feel like with everyone else, it's so awkward and like I'm uncomfortable? And I just realized that social media, because we formed these friendships online. Now, when it comes to, I guess phone calls really are near like real life, it just like makes it a bit, because we're not really communicating. We're really sending each other memes as a way of, you know, understanding each other, but like, really, do we understand each other? Is that the most effort we can make on trying to form a bond, sending each other memes? Because we do see that, like, oh, I send my friend memes, you know, 6 months and then I only see them one time. Like, is that really sustainable? Like, I was watching her video and she made a really good point where she said that most of the time when we go out with a lot of friends, we want to capture that. Like, everyone has their phones out, everyone's drinking, you know, their wine or like cocktails, and everyone has like that boomerang of everyone with like, you know, no, that's too much. But I was gonna grab an actual wine glass and be like, yeah, everyone does that. Like, a lot of people want to film how they are with their friends to show that they have a lot of friends on social media. But when we are checking that out in other people, seeing them and their friends, we are alone. And therefore, we don't realize that a lot of people are alone watching other people with other people, and those people are most of the time alone, but only capture the moments where they have a group of people, which in fact makes us feel like everyone else is always with somebody every single time, and that we are always alone, and that we are kind of fake for posting that. That was a mouthful, definitely, but I know someone will get me. An awkward point in my last video, and someone like really captured it perfectly. Like, they understood, like, we like this. See, you get me. You get what I'm trying to say. English is not my first language, okay? Like, to put it plainly, right now, at this current moment, I am alone in my house, okay? And in a few days, I'm gonna go to the gym with my friends, okay? And then I will post that as if, you know, just a random gym day, not really mentioning how we've planned it, how I had to spend money, all that kind of stuff. But I'll just post it casually, like, it's what I do on a random day, like, it's fine, you know? But then someone else will see that and be like, oh, Tanya has such a nice life. She just goes, you know, out and she gyms with her friend. But like 99% of the time, I'm by myself. You know, and the next time I'm going to post, I'm going to be with someone else, or I'm going to be outside. I'm not going to be in my house alone. Like, I'm not going to post this just being by myself. Almost like my vlogs, you know, I noticed, I was like, I would not vlog my week in a life if I was not going to meet somebody else. Like, if I was just going to be alone, that would be like very difficult for me to vlog, because it's like, the people are going to think I'm a loser, which I think I really am, if we think about it really. But then I realized, like, why do I feel this way? Why do I feel like I always have to have someone to sort of have some sort of value to post on social media? Why can't I just post by myself, since I am by myself? Like, why do I care so much about what other people say? There was also an article, but it was a really old one, and I forgot to cite it. But anyway, of when Facebook just got created. I think that's what was like the start of all this, you know, friendship, social media things, stuff like that, where Facebook was created, and people felt that they had a lot of friends. Like, you see, oh, I have 100 friends, I have 4,000 friends, and you feel good about it, but like, you don't know these people. So that word friends really made it difficult for you to differentiate between actual friends, real life friends, and people that you hardly know, which I think why Instagram had the word followers and not friends, because like, it was really confusing people psychologically. That is not how you say that. But you know what I'm saying, like, was affecting people mentally, where they felt like, yeah, I have a lot of people, but like, it means nothing. You know, like, I have 50K followers on TikTok, yet I don't know any of them. I don't feel fulfilled or anything like that. So social media, in essence, makes you feel like you have a lot of people in your life. Like, you like each other's stuff, they comment stuff, but like, you don't know these people. They're not really your friends. They're not there when you're crying by yourself in your room. So we have to realize that, like, that's not going to make you happy, and you really have to put more effort in real life people than people online. There's also the social media gurus, which I think I definitely contributed to that part. Like, if you watch my TikTok content, you definitely be like, girl, that's you talking about yourself. Yeah, and that's really why I'm going to stop talking about certain things on there, because this whole cutting off people, where there's a rise in like, of course you matter, but like this whole like self this, taking care of myself, put myself first, you know, which is great, but at the same time, it's like you have to cut off everyone who does the slightest wrong thing, because, you know, you're putting self first, and their mistakes are not mistakes. You're just judging them or judging their whole life based off that one thing they've done, and you're just cutting them off. And I think that's just making even lonelier generation, because it's like, what, she didn't, you know, get you the perfect gift for your birthday, now you have to cut them off because she's a fake friend. She didn't repost your thing, now she's a fake friend. All that kind of stuff. Where I had to realize, like, is this person a bad person just because they didn't repost my latest YouTube video? Like, no, they're really not. Obviously, there is a line, you know, there's a pattern, you know, of someone not being supportive. Like, I'm not gonna ignore that. But there's also like this reason standard where it's like, your boyfriend doesn't even repost you. What are you talking about? You know, and doesn't mean that they're jealous. This whole mindset of like, I'm the victim, everyone else is jealous of me. Every female friend that they use that word. Every female friend that I've ever made have stabbed me in the back. Maybe you are the problem. Maybe looking at that part, like, maybe I'm the problem. Because how is it every person that I've ever met has been jealous of? Like, how is that possible, honey? How is that possible? So also taking accountability, and also being careful, just always listening to gurus that want to tell you that you're the victim in every single situation, because sometimes you're really not. You have to take accountability. Like, as I said just before, I was like, yeah, maybe I was doing something wrong. That friend cut me off. Like, that's me taking accountability. Like, yeah, peut-être, yeah, that was French. Yeah, maybe, you know, just taking accountability. Like, maybe there's something I need to change. You know, maybe I need to reply more. I'm so sorry, love. Like, maybe that's my thing. I think sometimes my friendships have not been so well because I don't reply, and I really am trying to respond more and like be more engaging, because, you know, I've been having my own issues, you know. There's also like really tightly curated lives online where it's like, in real life you're not the same person as you portray yourself to be online. Therefore it's much difficult to make friendships, because it's like what the other person is expecting of you is not really who you are. And I feel like for a long time I always portrayed myself as something that I was not online. This is a long time ago, by the way, of where I then made friends that I could not attain, I could not keep up with, and I could not hang out with them, because like what I was portraying online was not who I was in real life. You know, it's like, yeah, you're all outgoing, you know, you love this and that, but it's like in real life, like I can't, like I don't have money. Like I'd always look like I have like money, but like I did not, I never had, still don't, where it's like, now I'm learning to just like be low budget online as I am in real life, and it just makes it easier to make friendships with people that you can agree with. You know, it's like the friends that I have now, they're not gonna ask me to go for, you know, to go to Paris randomly because they know I don't got the money. Also a tweet that I saw, and it said, y'all say this like it's a bad thing and I refuse to believe it. I prioritize my peace over people. Everybody can go F my face for all I care. I've been seeing a lot of comments like this when it comes to just like not having friends, and someone be like, I could have come on here and be like, I would rather just have no one than like fake people, which is like a valid point. But at the same time, I feel like people use this as an excuse, you know, like, girl, you can't make friends, and it's okay. You don't have to be like everyone else sucks, and that's why, you know, it always reminds me of the people like, I prefer animals over people. Yeah, that's because you can't meet people. That's because you're a terrible person and nobody likes you. That's why you prefer animals than people. Because it's like, girl, please stop playing with me right now. Like, don't. Like, I've always seen it as what it actually is. Like, I never buy it when someone's like, yeah, you know, I'd rather people are fake. No. Like, you can't tell me you've met every single person. My battery died during filming that, and I'm glad it did, because I was definitely going off track. And then I filmed another video continuing my point, and then that video doesn't have any audio. I don't know why, but there's probably a reason. I actually have two batteries, and I was just lazy to like take off the battery and put in another one, but I did it anyway just to make the thumbnail. So anyway, last words. If you guys have any topic that you'd like me to speak about, as I'm starting with this whole commentary stuff, I definitely do not want to go on the route of just like controversial topics and like fighting, because I know how draining social media is for me. So like, I'm definitely not gonna go the whole toxic route. I'm gonna talk about things I want to talk about, and also things that you guys want to talk about, but like definitely not controversial things. But like, yeah, see you guys next time. Bye.